A woman's silence carries a depth of meaning that often goes unnoticed. In a world where people are quick to speak, react, and defend themselves, a woman's decision to remain silent can be a profound statement of strength and self-respect. It is not a lack of response, nor is it a sign of submission. Rather, it is an intentional and powerful act that reflects emotional maturity, confidence, and inner peace. When a woman chooses silence over unnecessary words, she is demonstrating that she understands the value of energy, the importance of preserving her dignity, and the power of letting actions speak louder than words. Silence is often mistaken for weakness. Society has conditioned people to believe that those who remain quiet are somehow incapable of standing up for themselves. However, this could not be further from the truth. A woman who understands the power of silence knows that words are not always the most effective way to communicate. Instead, her silence sends a message that is stronger, clearer, and often more impactful than any argument she could engage in. She does not waste time trying to prove herself to people who do not deserve her energy. She does not get drawn into battles that do not serve her. She does not explain herself to those who have already made up their minds. She understands that true power lies in knowing when to speak and when to hold back, and in many cases the latter is far more effective. In relationships, a woman's silence can be a profound statement of self-respect. When she is disrespected, mistreated, or undervalued, she does not beg for recognition or validation. She does not waste time explaining why she deserves better. She simply removes herself from situations that no longer serve her and lets her absence speak for itself. A woman who is aware of her worth understands that her energy is too precious to be spent on those who fail to appreciate her presence. Instead of engaging in arguments or trying to change someone's mind, she allows her silence to create distance. This distance is what makes people realize her true value. It is in her absence that they understand what they lost. A woman's silence also teaches people how to treat her. She sets the standard for how she expects to be spoken to, how she expects to be treated, and how she expects to be valued. If someone crosses her boundary, she does not waste words trying to convince them to respect her. Instead, she withdraws her attention and lets her silence reinforce the lesson. When she chooses not to respond to negativity, gossip, or unnecessary drama, she sends a clear message that she refuses to engage in toxicity. People who are used to constant validation, attention, or conflict will find her silence unsettling. They will seek answers, demand explanations, and try to provoke a reaction. But a woman who understands the power of silence does not fall into these traps. She remains firm, calm, and in control. In the professional world, a woman's silence can be just as powerful. A confident woman does not need to prove her intelligence with excessive words. She speaks when necessary and lets her actions showcase her abilities. She does not waste time on meaningless debates, nor does she seek approval through constant explanations. Instead, she allows her work, discipline, and results to demonstrate her worth. In a room full of people talking over each other, the one who remains composed and listens is often the one who commands the most respect. Silence forces people to listen when she finally does speak, because they recognize the weight of her words. In friendships and social settings, a woman's silence can be a form of self-care. She does not waste time on shallow conversations, meaningless interactions, or people who drain her energy. Instead, she chooses carefully where to invest her attention. She understands that not every situation requires her input, and not every argument deserves her response. When she feels that her words will not be valued, or that speaking up will not bring any meaningful change, she chooses to remain silent. In doing so, she protects her peace, conserves her energy, and maintains her emotional well-being. In matters of personal growth and self-discovery, silence becomes a powerful tool for reflection. A woman who embraces moments of solitude and quiet allows herself to connect with her intuition, gain clarity, and build inner strength. She does not seek external validation for her decisions, but trusts her own wisdom. She understands that silence is where she finds her true self, away from the noise and distractions of the world. She listens to her thoughts, evaluates her emotions, and makes decisions with a clear mind. There is also a spiritual aspect to a woman's silence. Many ancient teachings, including those in Zen Buddhism, emphasize the importance of quiet contemplation. A woman who understands the depth of silence embraces it as a path to enlightenment and peace. She realizes that silence is not emptiness, but a space where wisdom grows. She does not react impulsively or let emotions dictate her actions. Instead, she pauses, reflects, and responds with intention. This ability to harness silence allows her to remain centered even in difficult situations. A woman's silence also has the power to transform relationships. In romantic dynamics, when a woman stops chasing, stops explaining, and stops trying to be understood, she shifts the balance of energy. If a man takes her for granted, her silence makes him question his actions. If he fails to appreciate her, her absence forces him to see what he stands to lose. Many times, people only realize the value of someone once they are no longer readily available. Silence creates a void that demands attention. It is often in a woman's stillness that she commands the most respect. When a woman learns to use silence as a tool of empowerment, she no longer feels the need to seek external validation. She does not react to every insult, engage in every debate, or respond to every provocation. Instead, she becomes selective with her words and intentional with her energy. She moves with purpose, speaks with confidence, and allows her presence to carry meaning. She does not fight for a place in people's lives. She allows them to recognize her worth on their own. A woman's silence is not an absence of words, but a presence of strength. It is a conscious decision to remain above negativity, to protect her peace, and to maintain her dignity. It is a statement that she values herself enough not to engage in anything that does not align with her self-worth. When a woman understands this, she no longer seeks validation from others. She knows that her silence speaks louder than words, and in that silence, she finds her true power. When a woman chooses to remain silent, she is not only demonstrating self-control, but also exerting a form of influence that is often more effective than spoken words. Silence is a powerful response that can shift dynamics in relationships, redefine boundaries, and create an air of mystery that naturally draws others in. In a world where people are constantly reacting, defending themselves, and explaining their emotions, a woman who understands the power of silence stands apart. She embodies emotional intelligence, patience, and a deep sense of self-worth. She is not compelled to prove herself to anyone, because she knows that real strength is not found in endless explanations but in quiet confidence. When a woman remains silent in the face of provocation or disrespect, she sends a clear message: she will not be manipulated into unnecessary conflicts. Many people rely on emotional reactions to validate their behavior. They seek to provoke a response, to trigger anger, or to elicit desperation. But when a woman refuses to engage, she disrupts this pattern. She does not allow herself to be controlled by the emotions or actions of others. Instead, she holds her ground with poise and grace. This refusal to react unsettles those who expect confrontation. It forces them to reflect on their behavior because they are denied the satisfaction of an emotional response. Her silence, in this case, becomes a mirror, making them question their own intentions and actions. Silence can also be a powerful tool in relationships, especially when a woman chooses to step back instead of chasing or seeking validation. When a woman constantly reaches out, explains herself, and tries to prove her worth, she unintentionally places herself in a position of lower value. However, when she stops reaching, stops explaining, and stops trying to convince someone of her importance, the dynamic shifts. The absence of her voice, her presence, and her efforts creates a void that cannot be ignored. A man who has taken her attention for granted begins to feel her absence more profoundly than her words ever could have made him understand. This is because human nature is wired to appreciate what is no longer easily available. When something or someone is always present, always willing, and always making an effort, it becomes easy to overlook their value. But when that presence is withdrawn, the space left behind speaks volumes. It creates a sense of loss that forces reflection. This is why many people only realize the importance of a woman after she stops trying, after she stops calling, and after she removes herself from the equation. Silence is a test. It reveals who genuinely values a woman's presence and who only appreciated her when she was constantly available. A woman's silence also plays a significant role in self-preservation. There are moments when engaging in arguments, defending oneself, or trying to make others see one's perspective is simply exhausting and unproductive. In these situations, choosing silence is an act of self-care. A woman who understands her own worth does not waste her breath on conversations that drain her energy. She does not feel the need to justify her emotions to those who refuse to understand. Instead, she conserves her energy for those who truly respect and value her. This ability to withdraw from unnecessary battles is a form of wisdom. It shows that she understands that not every situation deserves her voice, and not every person deserves her attention. There is a certain mystery in silence that makes a woman more intriguing. People are naturally drawn to what they do not fully understand. A woman who does not constantly reveal her thoughts, emotions, or plans keeps others curious about her. This does not mean she is secretive in an unhealthy way, but rather that she does not feel the need to disclose everything about herself all the time. She allows people to wonder, to question, and to be drawn in by the unknown aspects of her personality. This air of mystery adds to her attractiveness because it creates a sense of depth. She is not predictable or easily figured out, which makes her presence all the more compelling. In professional settings, a woman's silence can be a sign of intelligence and power. While many people feel the need to dominate conversations, a woman who listens more than she speaks often commands the most respect. She does not rush to fill silence with words, but instead observes, assesses, and speaks only when necessary. This strategic use of silence ensures that when she does speak, her words carry weight. People listen because they know that she does not waste words. Her silence in meetings, discussions, or debates signals confidence. It shows that she is not threatened by others' opinions, and that she does not need to prove herself with excessive talking. The ability to remain silent also demonstrates emotional control. A woman who reacts impulsively to every situation gives away her power. But a woman who knows when to hold back maintains her influence. She does not let anger dictate her words, nor does she allow momentary frustration to define her response. Instead, she takes her time to process situations before responding. This calculated approach not only prevents regret, but also ensures that she remains in control of her interactions. In friendships, silence can be a way to establish boundaries. There are times when words fail, and explaining oneself becomes exhausting. A woman who values her peace understands that not every situation requires an explanation. If she feels disrespected, misunderstood, or undervalued, she does not always have to argue or clarify her stance. Sometimes the most effective response is to withdraw and let her absence be felt. True friends will recognize this silence and seek to understand her perspective, while those who do not value her presence will reveal themselves by their lack of concern. A woman's silence also holds power in moments of deep reflection and self-discovery. In a world filled with noise, distractions, and constant communication, taking moments of silence allows her to reconnect with herself. She listens to her thoughts, understands her emotions, and gains clarity about her path. Silence becomes a sanctuary where she can evaluate her life, set new goals, and align herself with her true purpose. It is in these quiet moments that she builds her strength, refines her vision, and emerges with renewed purpose. There is also a spiritual depth to silence. Many ancient teachings emphasize the importance of stillness, contemplation, and inner peace. A woman who embraces silence as a tool for personal growth understands that true wisdom is found not in constant talking, but in deep listening to herself, to her intuition, and to the lessons that life is trying to teach her. She does not seek validation through words, but finds contentment in knowing that she is in tune with her own soul. Silence can be an answer, a lesson, and a form of communication all at once. When a woman chooses silence, she is choosing to protect her peace, to maintain her dignity, and to let her presence or absence speak for itself. She is teaching those around her that she will not be drawn into negativity, that she will not fight for attention, and that she will not waste her energy on those who do not value her. Her silence is her strength, and in that strength she commands the most respect. A woman's silence is one of her greatest strengths. It is not a sign of weakness, passivity, or submission, but rather an intentional choice that speaks louder than words ever could. Through silence, she communicates boundaries, commands respect, and shifts the dynamics in her relationships. Whether it is in personal interactions, professional settings, or moments of self-reflection, her decision to remain silent is often more powerful than any argument or explanation. When a woman stops chasing, explaining, or reacting impulsively, she reclaims her power. She forces others to reflect on their actions, making them realize the value of her presence through her absence. Silence creates an air of mystery, drawing people toward her instead of pushing them away. It also fosters emotional intelligence, allowing her to navigate situations with wisdom and self-control rather than being consumed by reactive emotions. In relationships, her silence can be a test of genuine value. Those who truly care will notice when she withdraws and will seek to understand her, while those who never valued her in the first place will reveal themselves by their indifference. This is why a woman must trust the power of silence. It is a mirror that exposes true intentions. Beyond relationships, silence is also a tool for self-preservation and inner peace. A woman who understands when to speak and when to remain silent protects her energy and nurtures her well-being. She does not waste words on those who do not listen, nor does she explain herself to those committed to misunderstanding her. Instead, she chooses stillness to reflect, to grow, and to align herself with her purpose. In the end, a woman's silence is a form of wisdom. It is a way of setting boundaries, demanding respect, and allowing her presence to be felt without ever having to raise her voice. She does not beg, she does not chase, and she does not plead for attention. Instead, she allows her absence to say everything that words cannot. And in that silence, she commands the greatest power of all.